Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another live broadcast of the Engadget Podcast. I'm Senior Editor Devendra Hardwar. This morning, I'm joined by Deputy Editor Sherlyn Lowe. Hello, Sherlyn.
Hello.
And our podcast producer, Ben Ellman, is here. He is currently frozen in time. We just have an image of Ben right
Constantly
now.
getting hammered by the Pringles hunger hammer.
Oh, yeah, that's the Pringles thing. We are going to be... Hello, Ben. How's it going?
R.I.P. Choco Taco.
Oh, man. I don't think we're going to talk about that. I don't think I've ever had a Choco
We should
Taco.
talk about that. I'll throw that in there.
Yeah. That's a whole thing. Hello, everybody joining us.
Did you hear that the Reddit guy wanted to buy the name Choco Taco?
He could. Billionaires can do whatever they want.
I don't believe he's a billionaire.
Yeah, he's a multi-millionaire, 100-millionaire. Hello to everybody in the chat. Mark Dell, Gabriel, Declan Flynn, dude named Charlie. Hello, everybody. We're going to be running right into this.
DJ by Steps.
Yeah, we've got a packed show.
Yeah,
we've got two guests, so we're just going to run into it. We're going to be talking about this great article by Daniel Cooper, who's joining us, and check it out. It's about the legality of AI art. So you can find that on Engadget. Just go check that out right now too.
I'm gonna do a quick roll call. I'm gonna do a quick roll call. Also, hi to Jaime Avalos, Buckley, Drew Carmokar, Jiming Zhong, D3+. I think I missed one name, but yeah, love to call out all the names because we see all of you.
We see you guys. Thank you for joining us.
And this is gonna be some of them.
This is gonna be a fun episode, I promise, because there's a lot of super nerds here and a really cool topic.
I'm not one of the super nerds.
I mean, you're a Marvel nerd.
Cooler than most.
You're a Marvel nerd. I still have the arm claws from Avengers Endgame.
The scars on your forearm.
The scars, yeah.
Okay, so chat, you know what's going to happen. I'm going to count down from 3. At the end of 3, we're all going to clap or snap our fingers. Then we're going to do a little bit of silence. So chat, you can clap or make a sound along with us.
Join along, kids.
Join along, kids. So let's do a sync in 3, 2, 1. Okay, some silence to let you know when it's over. Okay, Sherlyn, you can breathe now.
You can breathe. You're going.
Thank you.
That would have been a great time for Julio to just barely fade in the Sherlon Musk.
No, Sherlon Musk is here. Sherlon Musk is locked and loaded. Don't worry.
Okay,
Don't worry.
We're ready to start talking about, start the actual show.
Yep.
Let's talk about AI art.
Okay, and like last week, folks, there is going to be another addition to the audio version of the show, so be sure to tune into that, subscribe, download, whatever. I will not be mentioning it in this intro, so don't worry about that. Okay, let's go in 3, 2, 1. What's up, Internet, and welcome back to the Engadget Podcast. I'm Senior Editor Devendra Hardwar.
I'm Deputy Editor Sherlyn Lowe.
Today, we are diving into the legality of Dall-E and similar generative artificial intelligences. Is that technology, are the pictures they're producing borrowed or stolen? And we're going to be talking about a great article that just went up at Engadget about that too. So yeah. And actually, we don't need to I'm not going to do the whole subscribe thing just because that's for audio. So don't worry. Let's just go straight into it. Okay. So to dive into the legality and ethics around AI art, we've got Daniel Cooper, who wrote that great piece for us at Engadget. Hey, Dan, how's it going?
Hello, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm pretty good. How about you guys?
We're doing okay. And also joining us is John Lepore, a futurist, creative leader, former creative director at Perception New York City. How is it going, John? Like you've been in this field for a while too, or you've definitely been exploring it, right?
Oh yeah, the whole AI art thing kind of rocked my world pretty hard a few months ago, and I'm still kind of recovering and seeking help from many others in my community as we're all scrambling to make sense of it all.
Gotcha. Well, it's great to have you guys, and this is a topic I've wanted to talk about for a while now. But let's take a step back because I don't know if everybody's realized what's happening with Dall-E and Midjourney and all these other AI platforms or systems out there. John, can you give us a quick recap? What are we talking about here? What is GAI?
Sure. So these new AI art generation tools have started showing up, and they've been around lurking in the background as experiments for a while, and betas have started getting a lot more general access out into the world. And so as artists are starting to play with these things, they're realizing that there's all of a sudden a totally new way of approaching the process of creating artwork. Effectively, you use one of these tools and you type in what you want to see, or a prompt. You basically describe what kind of image you're looking for, and the AI will take your words, will do its best to interpret them, and then cross-reference that with all of the visual material that that particular AI has been trained on, and will generate a image, usually in about like 30, 45, 60 seconds. You have an image that is fed back to you. And it's a pretty explosive sort of experience if you're somebody who particularly is, if you're a creative professional who has been spending hours, days, or weeks working on your own, working with teams to create imagery and content of any kind, to be able to type in whatever's in your imagination and all of a sudden see it perfectly rendered in front of you, like within seconds. It's kind of amazing and super terrifying and intimidating and really, really exciting.
So basically, it's creating like very professional looking art, and it could be very different things. It could be like mimicking a photo, it could be mimicking pencil work, or watercolors or something. Like it can mimic anything based on a text prompt. If you guys want a good example of this, go check out the show notes for this page or Dan's article. Dan, your article shows a robot exploding as it's painting something. What was the prompt that delivered that image for you?
I believe so. I didn't make the image. It was Aaron, one of our colleagues.
Aaron
I think it was a robot creating art and destroying itself at the same time.
Yes. And
I have to say as well, I think that top image really speaks to the surprising power. If you don't realize that was something that Midjourney knocked up in a couple of minutes. And that sort of central image, which is sort of the best looking of the set. If I said to you that was the new cover of, say, a Pink Floyd B-sides album, it's got a real sense of sort of art and artistry, and it's a very striking image. And you wouldn't believe that a human hadn't had some input on that, but that was, that is all AI, and it's crazy.
It's the sort of thing where if you walked into like a modern art gallery, right, and you're like, oh, what is this edgy image? Who is this artist? What are they trying to say? There's so much you can like read into it. Like even I think you can find the subtext of like, the text that created this whole thing, but you could kind of get to that. Just pretty wild stuff. So Dan, I think what's really interesting, your piece is called "Is AI Art Borrowed or Stolen?" And it's is Dall-E's art borrowed or stolen? The thing here is that these frameworks, all the images and everything that these systems are built on, where do they come from? Like, are these images really coming from nowhere, or are they like based on the sources that they're eating up? And how does that like affect the legality or like, the ownership of the final product, do you think?
That is a very big question. I'm just going to, for anyone who doesn't know, I will just say, these systems, I think a lot is made of the idea of artificial intelligence. What these are is essentially, it's a pattern recognition machine. So if you feed it 1,000 pictures of landscapes, it will very quickly, assuming they're all similar landscapes, it will assume that the blue, sort of the top third is blue, and that is the sky, and the sort of lower third may be green or brown, but that sort of denotes the land. And very quickly it can build up an understanding of how, when you say I want a landscape, it has seen however many thousands of landscapes and it knows roughly what you're asking for. But obviously all of those pictures have to come from somewhere. And this is really, I think, the big sort of pivot upon which my article hinges, is this idea of, is it fair and legal and right that a computer can digest the sum total of human knowledge and art, and then produce its own art without paying any credit, any money, any consequence. Really, there is nothing to recognize the original artists whose work this is built upon. And there are many arguments about this, and the article was already super long, so I didn't have a chance to go into the many millions of arguments about this. But fundamentally, it's that question of is it morally right? And that, I think, is a big question mark. Is it legally right or fair? And it seems to me we're in a big gray area now, because there hasn't been case law really to sort of set down the rules. But more importantly, I think there's a political angle whereby countries are so desperate to get to the top of the sort of the AI arms race, as it were, that I think individual rights might get trampled on or ignored in the pursuit of making sure that one nation's AI stick is bigger than another nation's AI stick. So it's a lot, and the answer is there are no simple answers.
No simple answers. Let me just give you a shot. Cherlynn, is there anything you want to add or ask before I dive in? Because I've got a lot of stuff for John to talk about too.
Not at this point, I guess. I mean, like, I obviously early editions of Dall-E art didn't seem that convincing or that great, but we're getting to a point where the pictures that are on Dan's article look great, and the Family Guy thing that we were just showing here on the live stream looked pretty awesome. It was like,
can you describe that? And actually, that'll be part of the question too. Like that was a specific prompt too, right? So we will dive into that. Don't worry. Yeah.
It was like someone fed the prompt, and I don't know if this was like where it was sourced from. I don't know if it was from our article on Engadget, but it was like the prompt was Family Guy in some sort of style, and I actually couldn't see the words for like what it meant, what sort of style, but it looked like they were squished together. They were like claymation or some sort of olden something pencil painting. I can't. It's blurry. But I was like, wait, I looked at the pictures first. I was like, this is a weird CAPTCHA test, but also
it's Family Guy Rockwell painting. So it's like Family Guy done in the style of like Norman Rockwell. And yeah, we had a couple different, Yeah,
and I've played with Dall-E myself, Dall-E Mini, I guess, and the results were not great. None of them were convincing. So I've never really stopped to wonder, like, who owns this art, but just to remind y'all, last week, our audience member, Mark Dell, made some sort of artwork featuring... You really want
to
I'll bring it up. I'll go there. We'll bring it up. My face morphed with Elon Musk's face using some kind of app. Mark
I see that picture framed behind Cherlynn now. She's like a little altar for it in her room. It's just
horrifying.
Wow.
But we gave the picture is now on our live stream. The picture. So that we gave credit to Mark Dell for that picture, right? But it's also when I afterwards spoke with Mark a little bit about it, he was like, "Oh, but I just used an app to do it. It was not really like my art." So we are in the throes of finding out like how do we credit pictures like this. So I think it's the right time.
It's kind of a big thing. So John, I've been reading a lot of your coverage too. I know you've been tweeting about like as you've explored this stuff. It seemed like it really excited you. Have you been thinking about the core aspect though? It was like this stuff isn't coming out of thin air. This is based on pre-existing art, or it's learning from something. What is the like? Is that something you've thought about, or is that something people in the industry are thinking about as they're looking at this technology more?
Yeah, we're going through, this all feels so new at the moment that I'm seeing multiple waves of discussion around certain things. And about 3 weeks ago, a lot of it was, are we allowed to take credit for the fact that we're just writing prompts and this AI is doing all the work on our behalf? And there is currently a lot of discussion around the idea that, the AI is trained on potentially, and we don't know, we don't actually have clarity or documentation on what Dall-E has trained their AI on or what Midjourney has trained their AI on, but the expectation is that they have effectively cut it loose on the web, or they have maybe curated certain things and said, hey, let's look specifically at professional creatives portfolios, or let's look at stock imagery, or let's look at things that are maybe a little bit at a higher level, so that it's also not factoring in, you know, children's crayon drawings or whatnot. And so I think there is reason to be concerned that, like, okay, is Dall-E just remixing other people's artwork? Now, I don't know enough about what's going on under the hood of these algorithms to be totally definitive with it. But the sense that I get is that it is not sampling these images. It is not, you know, photo bashing other existing pieces. It is not copy pasting a corner of one image and a corner of another image and blending them together. It is learning from these images. It is, you know, it is understanding, you know, once it sees one picture of a sailboat and it's like, okay, there's like a, you know, a boat hull on the bottom and a sail on the top. And once it sees 5,000 pictures of a sailboat, it's like, okay, usually the sail is made out of this kind of material and whatnot.
This also kind of reminds me of like the thing we were just talking about too several episodes ago about like, is that Google AI, is Lambda actually intelligent? And it kind of seems like we're gonna have to have this conversation a lot now too. It's like, is Dall-E actually good at making art? You know, does Dall-E understand if you feed it 1 million images of a landscape, does it understand the beauty of a blue sky and a clear meadow, or is it just like, it's just all numbers, it's all algorithmic to it too, right? So like, that's an understanding we have to keep in mind, right?
Absolutely. And I think, you know, for me right now, at the end of the day, my position is, if you talk to any artist, especially anyone who's a creative professional, who like their day in, day out job is creating artwork of some kind, you are always referencing other work. You're not copy pasting other work, but even in describing what do we want to do, we're going to base it a little bit on this. And that is the way all creative content is. Everything is influenced by everything that has come before. Movies would be completely different today if the Matrix never came out, right? You know,
it's
music
inspired by so many things, you know.
Exactly. Absolutely. And you know, that everything that exists, every piece of art, every piece of music, every recipe is in some way derivative of something else that's come before. And
there's a good comment from our chat room from Declan Flynn. He says, isn't all art an evolution and to some degree inspired from what came before? It's basically what you're saying, John. No human creates art in a bubble unexposed to prior art. And I think that is sure. Yes, absolutely. Is it different with these AIs? You know, John or Dan, like, I know Dan, like you've written a bit of like art history into your piece too, like talking about like, I forget you brought up Warhol. You brought up like one
and Duchamp,
the dude who bought a urinal and was just like, hey, this is art. I guess like, we have things like that too. Does this feel different to you, to either of you, Dan or John?
I think it's to me it's interesting because there's not as much of the AI making its own personal statement or sentiment that's in there, at least yet there isn't. I do get a little concerned for the point when the AI is also generating its own prompts to give itself.
Yes.
You know, and things just kind of branch out into absolute madness from there. I mean, there's, you know, I won't get into it right now, but there's so many scary implications that I think branch out from this moment. I mean, I've known that AI has been lurking in the background. I even did some work with Watson and IBM years back.
R.I.P. Watson. That was a thing that was supposed to be a big deal and didn't end up being a big deal.
No. And you know, and back then, you know, me and everyone else that I knew we were all like, well, AI may swoop in and take everyone's jobs, but it won't take ours because we're creative. And now I'm looking at it and I'm realizing, no, creativity is just as pattern based as anything else.
Aren't our brains just pattern recognition images? I do want to talk about some of those, like you know, where this is all headed. But Dan, like your piece, you've talked to several people too, like experts in this field and legal experts. Like, do you have like any direction basically from those folks about like where we're sitting or what we should be looking out for within this field, you know?
So in terms of the legality and everything else, I think what we are likely to see is nothing happening very quickly.
Right. Hey, that's normal. Yeah.
Yeah. I think certainly across the industry there is a reticence to start to sort of. The first one lobbing the stone is either going to spend a small fortune and not be very successful, or they're going to spend a small fortune and be very successful, but probably by the time they've won, everything else is an ash heap and the whole world has moved on. But I want to talk about a concern that I have, or maybe not. It's something that's bothering me, and I can't work out whether it's fair or not. Okay, so Google offers up a framework or a training data set, as it's called. And this is essentially a list of pictures that then other AI researchers can go and use in order to train a model. And the idea is that, Google's trying to kickstart AI research, and it's making this stuff available. And it's done some of the legwork in order to make this easy for people who are starting out. And one of the things that a lot of GAI researchers and people who've been playing around with this have noticed is that Crayon, which is the project formerly known as Dall-E Mini, used to, and an open source project called Cogview, would very frequently generate images with the Shutterstock watermark.
Right. That's how it
And
understands images. Like every image has a Shutterstock watermark. Why not?
Yeah, precisely, because it's recognized that pattern. And so the question then is, well, why? Who's ripping off? Someone has ripped off Shutterstock's public-facing database. And it turns out it's Google. I bet I'll choose my words more carefully. They have
allegedly.
It's not allegedly, but they have chosen to index around 55,000 images from Shutterstock's public-facing image database that are all watermarked.
Right. It's just on the web. What's preventing? It's out there. Sure.
So firstly, that's against Shutterstock's terms of use. And secondly, more pertinently, I think, is that there are CGI artists, there are photographers who there are illustrators, all of whom will have put their work onto Shutterstock in order to make a living or make some money from their work. And this mega multi-billion-dollar corporation has said, yeah, but actually, I'm just going to take a copy. I'm going to take the free copy of all of that work, and you're not going to see a dime. And I'm going to give it to a load of AI researchers who are then going to use it to hopefully put you out of a job. Now, that to me feels like it's a little bit problematic. It's
new territory.
But it definitely doesn't feel particularly wholesome. And this idea that it's only for non-profit work or only for research, well, that's fine. But also, you are sort of massively enabling piracy, and then to cut out the people whose work you're going to eventually profit from when you turn it into a viable business.
It's funny. It's kind of that is kind of like Google's MO, right? Like Google started by saying, we're just going to crawl every single page on the internet, and the value of a web page is how much it's linked to by other web pages. And then they did the same with Google Books and everything too. So, okay. Yeah, I kind of get it. We are getting long in the segment, so I just want to ask some of the deeper questions. John, from your perspective, you're somebody who has worked deeply in creative work. Creating things and images that a lot of people have seen, and they may not even have realized that. Do you think these sorts of AI art solutions could be a bad thing for artists? Could this be something either an artist uses eventually to just generate an image, or just anybody, somebody can type in an image, get something that would have taken an artist, a day to produce? Is that a dark future, or is this just that actual outcome of where we're going? Is it inevitable?
So one of the things that I always point out when I'm talking to folks about AI art, particularly right now and with the current state of these algorithms, the best results that I am seeing are consistently coming from very talented artists themselves, because those people have a combination of a clear vision of what it is that they want to see in their end result and create. And they're also really good at articulating to the AI what they want. And when I'm talking about these talented artists using this tool, they're not saying, show me a panda in an astronaut suit.
Right.
They have 2 paragraphs of like, in the foreground, slightly out of focus, is a blade of grass, and behind that, atmosphere fills the middle ground, which contains and they get very detailed and very specific. And there's a degree to which working with this tool, it's very much like for creative professionals when you are a art director or a creative director and you're working with other artists and you're trying to guide those artists to certain results, and you have to give very specific and clear direction and input, but also still figure out where to leave them the leeway to interpret and improve upon your own vision. So I think there is something interesting there that really does stand out to me. At the same time, it seems like we are at the very tip of the iceberg, and these AIs are evolving very rapidly. Midjourney, which is my favorite of these tools, just released their 3rd version of their algorithm this week.
I think you can apply for their beta easily too, right? If it's yeah.
Yes, and it's interesting. Right now, all of the tools, they're not like production ready. They're in very rare cases, unless you're open to something that has some degree of abstraction to it, they're not going to create ready to go images that will be a book cover or a movie poster or anything of that nature. But they're getting better really, really quickly.
Yeah.
And the more we use them, the more they're learning what we need from them. And I expect that we're going to see a dramatic increase in the quality of these tools and how they work, and also how they make us, the people typing the commands, look even better at what we're doing. And I expect that we'll get to a point where, like, right now artists are making the best stuff, but soon people that are artist adjacent, producers and project managers,
honestly,
will be
kids
there.
I think the imagination of a kid, which is completely untapped, like unlimited, basically they're not broken down by the world and the limitations we put in front of them. Toddlers and young kids will probably end up creating some of the best images. We're going to have to wrap soon, but I just want to say, like, broadly, I think there is something both fascinating about this AI story, but also all of them that we're seeing, is that the world is moving so quickly. It's kind of like reality is being reshaped in front of us, and we don't have the tools, we don't have the laws or anything to like deal with it yet. So I find that really fascinating. Sherlyn, Dan, John, anything else you guys want to mention or ask about this before we wrap?
I mean, for me, it's just, I hope that anybody who's in these spaces who are interested in these tools, start playing with them, start experimenting with them, get your hands on this stuff and figure out how it's working, because it's, to me, inevitable that it's going to start becoming a major part of any kind of process that we're doing, whether it's creating artwork in Photoshop or 3D animation or game design or composing music. These things are going to, at the very least, be this cool little servant assistant in your laboratory that helps you with your process.
If you're an art student or a design student, this is your big alert to probably spend some time with these things, because this is going to be a big deal moving forward. So thank you, John, for joining us. Where can we find you on the internet these days?
So I'm the most present on Twitter, and you can find me there at Johnny Motion. I'm also working with my friends at School of Motion on putting together a lesson specifically around AI art and how to best take advantage of it in professional workflows. And then one of my favorite things that I do is my childhood best friend and I host a podcast about Formula One racing called the F1 Files. And we love geeking out on all things Formula One. And our most recent episode is covering the hilarious Ferrari tragedy that we saw unfold at last weekend's race. Oof. So join us over there and check out what we're up to. Thank you so much for inviting me over here. Always a pleasure to chat with you, Devindra, and the whole Engadget team.
Thank you, John. And Dan, where can we find you on the internet?
Nowhere anymore.
No, yeah. Please tweet more. I had to tweet Dan's article, on my own because Daniel Cooper is not on Twitter.
I'm sorry.
Turns out you have to promote your stuff if you want people to read it.
Yeah.
So,
okay. I'll come back just for you. I haven't tweeted since. I think I tweeted once since 2019, but I'll come. I saw.
I was like, oh boy, I gotta throw some light to the story. So anyway, is it Daniel W. Cooper on
yes.
Twitter?
Yes, it is.
All right, follow Dan, follow his work at Engadget. Thank you, Dan and John, and hope to chat with you guys again soon about this and other cool AI things.
It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, we can wrap here. Pause your audio. Please shoot that to Ben, however you see fit. You could drop it in a Google Drive or something, or Slack for you, Dan.
Yeah.
Send it to my email address. John, I'll also send you an email with a target to send that to.
I think so. Should we do a Q&A or should we just keep moving? Because we get a packed episode.
Let's do like 5 minutes of Q&A.
Okay. Do you guys want to stick around for that, or are you heading out?
I got 5.
Okay, cool.
I probably need to boost because
all right.
I need to go and get ready for my story for tomorrow. So.
All right. See you, Dan.
All right. Au revoir. It was lovely to meet you, John.
Bye, Dan. Thanks for joining us, Dan.
Hello, chat room. I see chat room was very lively during this, so this was a good topic.
There were a lot of great comments. I think Jonathan Anderson had some good points about potentially like AI still needing input at this point. Does it feel still kind of like a tool more than
that was the Lambda thing?
That
was the Lambda thing too, right? Like it's not going to respond to you in a chat unless you are asking it questions. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I think that's a good point. Mark Dell, obviously, always with the like funny thoughts and comments. But Ben, I'm sure you've banked some yourself.
Well, yeah, and the main one that I was interested in is I think something that John kind of already touched on, which was from Declan Flynn, and said like, isn't all art an evolution?
We mentioned that. We mentioned
to some degree. Yeah. So like that was an interesting discussion. I think everyone was mainly...
so like just to touch on that. The other thing that I'm really concerned about is that like as humanity as a whole trying to outcreate AI, we are right now more like fish in a barrel than we have ever been because of how cyclical all our popular creativity is. All of our movies are so on loop and self-referential and based on everything else. Music is stuck in a perpetual loop. Like I love mid 90s hip-hop, and it sort of like never went away. Like mid 90s hip-hop has always been a thing that's been like recycled or upcycled or remixed or reworked in some way, shape, or form. And I feel like because of those patterns, we are going to be more than we would have been 50 years ago, that much easier for an AI to learn what will get us excited, what will make us happy, and it'll just be able to spoon feed us, the things that will release the right amounts of serotonin.
I'm not going to say anything about MCU movies at this point, but yeah, just enough to keep you going, fans, and the TV shows and whatnot. It does remind me, like, even this is not quite AI, but Spotify's recommendation engines like can do some amazing things. Like I love the points where it's like it's recommending people, not just me, like 80s Tokyo pop type of stuff.
Yeah,
just
city
like
pop, because city pop has gotten way more popular in the last like year and a half or so too.
Exactly. So like just a random deep cut like that, but also the way, like, I don't know, the Stranger Things Kate Bush thing is just like, hey, they pulled a good reference and it ended up being very popular. But we do see recommendation engines pulling back a lot based on your current the music you like. Anything else from the chat?
I mean, I see a few too while Ben's pulling up his. Slice Keeper, AXBX, and Jonathan Anderson were having like a full-on discussion about that, exactly what this topic is, right? Like who gets the credit, who gets the money.
Yep.
But Dude Name Charlie pointed out AI art could never have the depth of human-made art, like real art, and not the NFT things. And I'm like, wait. I want to actually, when you said like, where was the like, what was our final thoughts? I actually forgot that one of my thoughts that came up during the conversation was like, oh my god, eventually AI is just gonna like turn its own art, mint its own NFTs.
Oh yeah,
it's just gonna mint its own art into NFTs.
Well,
that's
we didn't even get into the NFT discussion. I don't know if you've drunk the NFT Kool-Aid or not, John. So I won't be too hard on it, but to me, that feels like the depth of art right now. But okay, yeah.
I have I'm bullish on NFTs only in the regard that like I know so many people that have been able to take their hobby and turn it into something that's very profitable for them. I am otherwise I'm the old man trying to make sense out of NFTs, and I'm super
They
discouraged.
all look terrible. I feel like the at the basis, your aesthetic.
They're all the gorillas thing to me. That's all I see.
But it's like all NFTs. Period. It's just like a template and then some takes on the template, like 1,000 of them.
There are some beautiful pieces of artwork that are out there as NFTs, but I think there's also so much of this like scramble just to try and make whatever the new digital pog is that makes it really, really messy. And I mean, in my community, it's almost everybody is fed up with the fact that there's just a constant like level of noise of people shilling their wares. And even some of the people that I know who have been very successful in the space, when I talk to them about it, their comment to me is often like, yeah, I don't get it either. Like, I also don't understand this. And to me, that's pretty concerning. And, AI could, if people are, going to get all revved up about buying variations of ape pictures, then an AI will be able to punk those folks very easily.
Maybe that would be a good thing. Yeah.
Where does that money go? Like that is another crash. But just to point out too, AXBX says AI generated porn is inevitable.
Oh, sure. God. Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of
so all of the
like hit our dopamine centers right where it hurts.
Yeah.
Or
so good. all of the platforms right now have a lot of strict rules around that, and I found it fascinating. I'm on the Dall-E beta, and as part of joining the beta, they went through a pretty extensive onboarding process where the majority of the onboarding process was like, listen, we think this is cool.
Listen, you perverts,
powerful. But we all have a shared responsibility because there's a number of different reasons that people could be freaked out by this. And if you go anywhere even close to any of the avenues that are going to be disturbing or upsetting or creepy, it's going to make it a lot harder for these tools to advance. And so they're very cognizant of this. And I think also we didn't even note this during the main discussion, but my understanding is that generating artwork is not the end game for the research labs that are putting these tools together. Like, this is sort of a case study in just how their AI can flex really hard and show that it's capable of things that we maybe previously had a hard time imagining. And there's so much more to come from what we're seeing here.
When you started saying that, John, I also started to wonder if maybe they also haven't been trained on nude pictures that are photorealistic, right? Like, they probably, if anything, they've been trained on like Renaissance art.
I don't know. There's a lot of pornographic images on the internet, so we don't know.
But you don't know what's been excluded from the training set, right? Like, you never know.
I think Google's just like, let her rip. Let's suck up all the internet. Let's see what happens.
It's all in Shutterstock anyway. We might as well.
It's all ever. We're gonna have to wrap this because we have a lot of news and other things to deal with. But John, thank you so much, chat room. Thank you for all your questions. This was a really great segment.
This is actually just too interesting.
Too interesting.
We need to tear ourselves away from it because it's too interesting.
Don't worry,
Well-
we'll come back to it. That's a good sign that we gotta keep coming back. And John, we'll definitely have you back on soon to talk about the stuff or other stuff. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Had a lot of fun. Everybody
Cool.
have a great rest of your day.
Shoot Ben your
Thank
audio, by the
you.
way.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
Will do.
All right, let's go straight to what's up?
What is a pog?
I'm gonna move on. Move on right now. I'm gonna let you Google that. Goddamn,
it's
youngin.
it's like a silver dollar. It's
Google it, share, and go to YouTube
All
and
right.
see.
Also, shout out to the one person on TikTok
Uh-huh.
that I said I would shout out to. I think their name was 8T something because they followed the Engadget account and replied to a comment.
That's
So,
nice. That's nice.
Yeah.
Pogs. Yeah, Google it, but also it was a '90s thing, and you're talking about web rings. I guess like you
Yeah.
knew what web rings were. And
I
you
know
don't
what a
about
web
Pogs?
ring is, but I don't know what a pog is. What the hell is a pog? It's like
Hey,
a
it
Star
was
Wars
dumb.
Pogs could be
symbol?
an American thing, and Shirley
American
was not
animal,
doing
It could have
that.
been.
American
It could have
thing.
been. Yeah, maybe
Anyhow.
it's that. But ugh. It's like when youngins say like, "Oh, that person was born in the
I'm about to
1900s."
Google it.
Yeah,
I'm
you
about
at
to
least you were
Google it.
born in the 1900s, Cher. So you're
Oh
not
my
I was
god,
born in the
1900s.
that. I've heard
Ah.
the youths talk about this, and
Oh, this
it
thing.
disturbs me to no end. Yeah,
Yeah,
you know what
I
it is.
don't know
You've seen it.
I don't know what we
Whenever I-
call it.
Whenever I get carded outside of a bar these days, I'm like, "Come on, guys, it's really
19,
easy."
19.
Yeah, my age starts with a 19.
All right,
All
let's go. I will wrap like a lot of this stuff together, the stuff you poked in
Sure,
for
sure.
meta, just
Yeah,
because
we
like,
don't need to talk
it's
about
all
all
part
of
of the
it.
big thing. And
meta
as for
thing.
the other news, yeah, we will move quickly through other news, so it's all good. Okay, we'll move fast. Okay, let me just pull up because I think the earnings report is our way into all this. All right, let's move on to some other news, and I guess a lot of the news is what the hell is happening over at Meta, because
Mhm.
things seem pretty rough. Earlier this week, the head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, posted this really weird video where he was like trying to talk to the community, talk about how things are going in Instagram, just trying to be lovey, and everything he was saying just sounded like Instagram as you know it is dead. A photo focused social network that's giving you a feed of images from your fans. Forget it. That's not what we're about anymore. And that is actually the main complaint so many people have had. Share as like a, you know, as somebody who loves to post many a
Insta.
selfie on Insta. What did you think about this? Like, were you disappointed, or did it just feel like, yeah, this is inevitable?
I was out, so I was chilling. I was not
Yeah,
listening
you
to
were
any of
chilling.
that noise.
Well, so
but,
are you
yeah.
annoyed about like where Instagram is now? Because I feel like
Yes.
that's the
Lot of
complaint
concerns
I
from
hear
all
from
of you.
everybody. Like the feeds are a mess because so much of it is like recommended AI garbage from other people. They're trying to be TikTok when they're not
Yep.
TikTok, and
Yep.
to me that's infuriating. How does it make you feel right now?
I do the thing where like the second
Yeah.
they start to show me things that I don't want to see, I like shut down the app. I'm just like
Yeah,
done, bye. And I'm
You
still
can
a person that
also
scrolls my
say
timeline.
don't show me messages like this, and for 30 days it will try to take
or
out recommended
snooze,
images.
snooze
Yeah.
suggested posts, right?
Snooze
you can like
suggested posts, yeah.
stop showing you suggested posts for 30 days, and I keep doing that, and they
Mhm.
just keep because they want you to keep scrolling. I'm like, all right, if I'm done seeing the stuff that from people
Yeah.
I follow, I'm done with your app. I'm out. Stop showing me shit. And if I want to see stuff that I am, not following, I can go into Discover by myself. And I do spend a fair amount of time in Discover sometimes because like
Mhm.
that's how I discover shit that I actually want to buy
Mhm.
every now and then.
Really?
So I don't know. Yeah, I
Uh,
do. I do some. I am one of those
Mhm.
very susceptible to Instagram shopping.
There's a lot
now,
going
but
on, and it's
It is what it is. I mean,
I do feel
Instagram
bad
aesthetic
when-
is a real thing.
I feel bad when something I bought beforehand ends up being like a trending Instagram ad. I'm like, oh no, is that
Well,
is
everything is-
does it know? Does it know what my tastes are? I don't know.
Everything is
Yeah.
Instagram now, but I will say, yeah. I mean, the homepage, the feed itself is
Mhm.
kind of going like it's. People are not going to spend a lot of time on that anymore.
Mhm.
Like grid
Mhm.
posts, just not going to make sense anymore. But stories, I feel like the way stories is still laid out, still
Mhm.
feels like
and
it's okay.
reels is
Yes,
kind of the big
yeah.
thing. Reels is their big like TikTok competitor. So basically, and yeah, Ben is pointing out in your chats, like you talk about using Instagram to look for things you may want to buy. It is sort of like a digital shopping mall too. Like it's this
Yep.
little thing of just like pretty pictures, cool ads. Oh, this looks cool. It is, if the entire internet is just like, I don't know, an open cesspool, Instagram is still like this nice little corner where you could go in and see some nice brands and some photos and stuff. I still share photos because it's the way my family and some of my friends get to see baby pictures, and it goes straight to Facebook, and I never want to touch Facebook directly. But you know, as something I sit and actually spend time in, it is a disaster. Whereas my daughter and I've talked about this, like we spend time in TikTok because like it's a very good feedback loop of things you want to see from people I don't know. But the AI, I guess, for TikTok, the algorithm is much, much better. But okay, so that's Instagram. Also, not a great week for Meta in general. They just announced their latest quarterly earning reports. They announced for the first time ever, their revenue shrank since they went public in like 2010, I believe. Profits dropped by what was it, 36%. So again, not great. Reality Labs, their experimental AR VR division, accounted for a $2.8 billion loss in this quarter. This is the division, by the way, that should be like spearheading like where Meta is going if they really want to be a metaverse company. Last year, that division lost $10 billion. So, you know, that's a lot of money just going down the drain. And we've seen a lot of stories about Zuckerberg just talking to people being like, okay, it's time to hunker down. If you're either in or you're out. Yeah, you're either on board with all the Meta stuff we're doing, or you just leave. Broadly, like Sherlyn, like what do you think about like where Meta is now as a company? Because it does seem like they're focusing less on being a social networking company, right? They're trying to be the metaverse company, but also there's so many roadblocks ahead for them. Yeah.
Meta is and always has been and always will be whatever the fuck Mark Zuckerberg wants it to be. And that's where he's interested right now, is to spend all of that money on this metaverse thing. I don't know if it is a flash in the pan. I don't know if like it'll take off. I do think that, you know, they've managed to influence a lot of, you know, different parts of the industry to jump on board this like bandwagon that they've hitched to themselves, and they're the mules carrying it forward now. So I'm just like, all right, good luck. I understand why you're bleeding money.
Yeah.
Because
and sometimes you have to like build the future.
Exactly.
Sure.
Snap was the way a lot of tech companies lose a lot of money before
Uber,
they start making anything. Yeah.
Everything. Yeah.
Exactly. And they're still losing money, a lot of them, but you know, revenue is big. They have a lot of influence. They have a lot of power. Meta has the luxury of already having a lot of that. And so it still kind of can't afford to do that. Its ads business is still huge. So where they are right now, it doesn't feel like Zuckerberg cares about Instagram or Facebook anymore.
Right.
So it feels like the people who are actually running those parts of the business, who's the inspiration? What is their vision for that?
They
stuff?
feel like
Copy TikTok to death? I don't know.
Yeah, they're the guy in the basement in Spirited Away who's trying to like run all the stuff at the steam bath, but has no clue about like, sure, what is the point? What is the point of Instagram? What is Instagram? What are we doing? So basically, I think it seems like Meta is in like a really vulnerable state right now, where they're getting attacked at all sides. I'm sure Zuckerberg has majority shares in the company, so he can kind of do whatever he wants. But I'm sure the board is not happy, and other people. And then basically more challenges ahead, because the FTC yesterday announced that they are filing an antitrust suit against Meta to block their acquisition of Within Unlimited. That's a VR reality app. They're the creators of the workout app Supernatural. Within also has it does a collection of VR experiences that you can jump onto. That didn't seem like it didn't seem like a big deal. It seemed like, that was a small company Meta's buying. So it is wild to me that the FTC is like really trying to put a stop to this, and the Microsoft Activision Blizzard deal, which is billions and tens of billions of dollars, huge, seems to be going ahead without without much of an issue. And it's just wild. So this is Lena Khan, the FTC commissioner. I believe that is the title, but Lena Khan's like first major action that she's doing at the FTC. And in an interview in the New York Times, said, can your work really rein in tech, which often outpaces rulemaking and policy? And I think this is the key of this decision here from Lena Khan. She says, a lot of the work that we've done has really broadened the aperture for how we're understanding and recognizing and diagnosing harm. Harm also seems like a keyword. We're really trying to be forward-looking, anticipating problems and taking swift action rather than just, 10 years down the line realizing, oh, there was a big problem and a big moment that we missed. So it seems like the FTC is now trying to stop an acquisition that could potentially kill competition, but also maybe give Facebook, Meta, an unfair advantage. I feel like if Lena Khan and like the current FTC structure was in place when the Oculus deal happened, I feel like they would have been like, no, that cannot happen. Because I kind of like, I commiserated. I was very sad about Meta buying it because it was like, I kind of liked what Oculus was doing as a standalone company. It seemed like, they were blazing new territory, and we didn't want Facebook to kind of own this whole space. And now look where we are. Like Facebook kind of has, they don't have a monopoly, but they certainly have like a big piece of the pie. And they've poured money into Oculus, but even the Oculus side of the business is facing issues. Like I believe they just raised the prices of the Quest 2 because business is hard. Like it's tough to be selling anything right now. So this is, I'm just fascinated by this and to see like how the FTC is going to try to stop things. I also remember I was reporting, I'm sure you were following this too, like when Facebook bought Instagram for $1 billion.
Yep.
That was like world shattering because here was a tiny little app that had like, I think 20 employees at the time, like not that many employees. And I was used to writing about acquisitions like, Microsoft, Google, something is buying a company for $10-50 million, yada, yada, yada. $1 billion was such a like earthquake of a move. And it kind of set the tone for the rest of the industry too, because like $1 billion kind of became the unicorn standard for so many other companies too. It seems the FTC is being like, no, we don't want this to happen. We don't want the old telecom barons to kind of be rebuilt, which is what seems to be happening. Do you have any other broader thoughts on this, Sherlyn? It's just wild to me that we're kind of seeing pushback right now against something like this.
I think it's really interesting. I think that they've learned and they're doing this hard reverse in the other direction. They've learned that these big deals in the past, they were too lax on, like you said. Not only just the Instagram purchase, but the WhatsApp purchase too, right? And they were trying to retroactively dismantle
$19 billion for WhatsApp.
That was hilarious that they wanted to go backwards and undo it. They're like, am I past the window to undo this? But now they're like, I guess
can I return this transaction?
Right,
exactly. Amazon here and
I've used it. I've unwrapped the packaging. But no, now they're like, no, can we let's stop this early? And honestly, I don't have the foresight to be like Supernatural is gonna be the whole thing, like this huge company, because who knew with Instagram when it was so small?
They're definitely one of the better. They're one of the better VR studios. Like when we went to events, we would always see Within stuff, and it's like, okay, that's interesting.
Right. I was about to say that, which is that like Within is one of the companies we used to like interview a lot. We work with them a lot. And Supernatural, I tested it out before they were even bought by Facebook or Meta, and but it was you don't think of one little game studio being bought by, let's say, Xbox as a big thing, but this is exactly what's happening, right? The platform maker has bought the studio, the content producer, and is that. Has it happened before? Have we seen this? Okay,
It's just,
I don't know. I think
it's kind of interesting just taking a pushback, because my thing is like, how do we stop Facebook? A company with over 2 billion users at this point, more power than many countries and many governments. Like it kind of seem unstoppable as an entity. My thing has always been like more regulations and like just being smarter about like how we allow these companies to behave. This seems like the beginning of something interesting, but we don't know what this lawsuit is going to lead to. It is just really interesting to see the FTC push back. You brought up a couple other stories too, Sherlyn, about Meta. Is there anything you want to call out? Because there's just so much going on right now.
I think I feel like you said, there is like a moment in time right now for Meta. It almost feels like we just all kind of have to watch. I think in part because it's earnings season, we're learning a lot about Meta. But I think we touched on all the important things. There are a lot of things like, involving the oversight board, whether, with Meta asking the oversight board whether it should be profiting.
They are committing. They're committing another $150 million to the oversight board, which seems okay, good. They want more self-regulation, but there was also stories about Meta asking the oversight board, like you were saying, to soften COVID-19 misinformation policies, which what? Okay. I guess misinformation is okay right now because it is kind of hurting their their bottom line or something. Like, I'm sure it's like
Really picky.
preventing certain ads that Facebook wants to
Yeah.
allow on their platform. Yeah.
Yeah, I also saw too that like some influencers or people on Instagram keep complaining about being so-called shadow banned. And also some people pointed me to certain profiles where like if you try to follow them, Instagram throws up a notice saying like, oh, this activity is prevented because of like we want to protect our user behavior. And like one of the people apparently that this was happening to was, and I loathe saying this, but it was Joe Rogan, right? Joe Rogan was saying that you can't follow him on Instagram. It's just like a weird play. Like why I feel like Instagram hasn't outrightly said why it's doing this. So yeah, no, it feels like they're trying to like get away with a lot. But speaking of getting away with a lot, Meta is also shutting down its Tuned app. Hey, did you know Meta had an app called Tuned?
No.
Yeah,
No,
because you probably aren't a Facebook user.
Is that TOONED or TU?
No, TUNED. Yeah, TUNED.
It's not the app that turned into cartoon. Okay.
No, it's the app that so-called gives couples or partners a private space where you can share feelings, love notes, challenges, and music streams. So a lot of couple apps out there do the same thing, but Facebook had its own, and it's shutting it down in September. Cool. What will happen to Facebook dating? Is that next? I don't know.
That's a thing. I don't know. I try not to pay attention.
Dating is a whole thing that nobody uses. I hope.
Okay. We will be paying attention to whatever is happening to Meta. But yeah, it feels like we're starting to see the giant like facing some real challenges right now. So it's very interesting. We'll keep an eye on it.
Oh,
let's move on.
Yeah.
Let's move on to some other news, and we're just going to run down stuff real quick here because this is a super packed episode. But I want to mention Grand Theft Auto 6. There were some details that kind of leaked out, and I don't know if you care about this at all, Sherlyn, but okay. So I'll just say this: there was a Bloomberg story by Jason Schreier, who is very good at getting like leaks and digging deep for reporting.
Yeah.
You should read his piece because his piece is called "Rockstar Games Cleaned Up Its Frat Boy Culture and Grand Theft Auto 2." That's over at Bloomberg. So it's broadly about the culture change at Rockstar, but it also has some news bits, including the fact that Grand Theft Auto 6 is currently in the works. Will include the first playable female lead character that Rockstar has ever had in the franchise.
Yes.
They're saying she's going to be a Latina woman who's part of like a Bonnie and Clyde duo of some kind. Seems like it's going to be set back in Miami. And they may that was like Vice City too, which is where I spent a lot of time with Grand Theft Auto. And it also seems like they can be adding locations and maps over time too, because this is going to be a very, very big game with a lot more indoor places and experiences like than they've had before. Also seems like it's at least 2 years away, so don't get super excited for this yet. But I thought that was interesting just to have some details. I do remember when Grand Theft Auto 5 came out, I was like, so it's just 3 dudes, huh? That's what we're doing. We're doing this again. I like the game. I like the game just fine. But yeah, Rockstar has been criticized for basically not portraying women well, or when it does, like they're either strippers or like really, really annoying wives or something. So that's not great. I like Rockstar's writing at times, and I think they can be good. So hopefully they're going to get better at that. In other gaming news, the PlayStation VR 2, Sony has given us some details. It's going to have live streaming support and a cinematic mode, which could be helpful for Twitch streamers and YouTubers. Seems like it's also the cinematic mode is similar to what they did in the first PSVR. It's going to give you a 1080p way to play games which aren't VR games, just on like a flat screen in the VR headset, up to 120 hertz, which could be interesting if you don't have a fast refresh rate TV or monitor to play with. So that's something. I'm just more interested in like what is the PSVR going to be looking like at this point. I mean, we see the basic design, we see the controllers that looks cool. We don't know pricing, we don't know exact availability yet, but it seems like with the Quest 2 getting more expensive and Meta on the ropes, it seems like there's a big gateway for Sony to just come in and be like, hey, here's PSVR 2. It's cheaper. If you have a PS5, it's easy. It's one cable. You plug it in. You have access to all these cool experiences. So, I don't know what it's going to be, but we're hopefully going to learn more soon. I think probably this fall. It's gonna be really, really interesting. So yeah, there is some news about
Nice.
Google Maps as well. Did you want to talk about that, Sherlyn?
I actually propose we skip it.
Oh, really?
But-
I didn't see it. Oh, okay, skip it. It's fine. I don't know. Let's go quick.
Yeah.
And let's just run down
I-
some quick news, real quick. Spotify announced that
Oh.
their car. What's
Okay, yeah, no, okay, we're gonna do CarPlay. We're doing this in order. Okay, CarPlay.
Just
and then
strike it
let's
out
just-
next time if you don't
Car
want me to.
thing.
Yeah, car thing.
Car thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Strike it out next time. Okay, I'm
yeah,
just gonna go
we're
right
gonna
into
do
it.
car thing, and let's let Sherlyn just start in on
Yep.
the Galaxy S22 when we
Yep,
get
yep,
to
yep.
that.
In other quick news, Spotify announced that their Car Thing player is no longer a thing, which honestly isn't too surprising to me. Like Car Thing was it was like a semi-smartphone. It was a touchscreen interface that you could clip onto your air vents for older cars to give you Spotify controls, and it it synced up with your phone. So if you had an old car, if you didn't have CarPlay or something, like
Right.
sure, I guess it would
Yeah.
be cool. But it sounds like the current you could still buy it now. It's $50, kind of discounted. But the
Used to
current
be 90, yeah.
used to be 90. The current environment where things are just like really, it's hard to build things. People are not buying things. We are preparing for a likely recession. Just seems like it is not a great place to be building hardware. So you know, I think you pointed out, or Ben pointed out, that they didn't even give it a proper name. I
think
debate that.
Car
I think
Thing
it's
is
a
a
great
proper
name.
name.
That is a great name.
Yeah. I think
That
it's
is
an
a great
awesome
name.
name.
Exactly.
So no, it's a good name.
Better than Galaxy S22.
Wow,
Tell me about the
you're-
Galaxy S22.
Man, your segue game. All right. This week, Samsung
Better
unveiled
than any
a-
of Samsung's phone names. Samsung A. What?
Don't even get me. You want me to call
Oh.
Sony up in here? Anyway, Samsung unveiled this week a new shade of purple for the Galaxy S22. The color this time around is called Bora purple. Bora is the Korean word for purple. And just to remind y'all, the Galaxy S22 series already exists in a violet shade. So this is not that much different. I would just encourage you to read our article on Engadget, because the press release that Samsung put out to introduce this new color, it sounded like they were high on something when they wrote that press release, because it's
Maybe that's
conveying,
why.
like maybe
you
that's
know, a
why.
human has to write the press release too. So I feel like I saw this news and I was like, who
Uh,
cares? Why are you
Well-
doing this, Samsung? I'm sure the person whose job it is to hype that up is like, oh hell, I
Look,
don't care about any of
let me
this.
just-
Let's be
Let
crazy.
me just quickly read to you what Samsung wrote in his statement. Y'all decide whether someone, a machine, a human, or AI wrote.
Take a
this.
CBD drop
Purple-
and just like write up this press release, please. Yeah.
Let me go. Purple is for everyone, whether you're a global pop sensation, someone with a playful sense of style, or a teen who wants to stand out from the crowd. In that sense, the purple stands for the same things as Samsung Galaxy, embracing diversity, pushing boundaries, and relentlessly innovating under the philosophy of openness. And then adds on, with its pastel and neutral tones, Bora Purple embodies optimism and a sense of calm. It will unfold your world with the power of choice. You don't need to be a K-pop star or a mythical creature to embody mystery or power. You just need to be yourself. And that was it. I will just tell you that I do not feel like I embody mystery or power, even though I am not a
mean,
mythical creature.
I feel like that is a thing that could sell you on a product, Sherlyn. So I don't know, but I will say it's not just some random PR person. It was Samsung's executive vice president and head of marketing, Stephanie Choi, who came up with these words. So you know, that's a good way to sell
it
your
was like
product.
someone
Yeah.
wrote it for her and attached the name to it. Let's put it out. Let's just say
Oh.
this. Let's just someone.
Are you
definitely,
saying
like, wrote
executives
this
don't
for
say
them.
the things that are written in press
I know
releases?
some. I know what happens. Anyhow, speaking of people who are feeling a little hurt, I think we've got a Filipino politician who wants to make ghosting a criminal offense.
Is
This
that turning people into ghosts? Like what is happening
No,
here?
do you not know ghosting?
I
Have you
know, I
never
know
been
ghosting. I know
Dude,
ghosting.
Come on.
I
I'm
have
gonna
never been
ghost you
ghosted.
right now.
Well, actually, no. I've definitely been ghosted by Sherlyn at some point when we've.
Fair
Okay.
enough, fair
Yeah.
enough.
Yep.
I ghost people quite a bit.
Yep.
So this is a member of the Philippine House of Representatives, Arnolfo Teves Jr. Put out a bill, and there's a note accompanying this bill that said, ghosting can be likened to a form of emotional cruelty and should be punished as an emotional
Wow.
offense.
Wow.
I mean,
Way to publicize your L's, dude. I feel like
Right?
that's it. Yeah.
look, I think
Nobody's getting
ghosting-
back to me. What's up?
Yeah. Do we feel like maybe we should just deal with our personal emotional problems? Do we allow people to set boundaries? Like what's
Yeah.
anyway? Probably another episode. Maybe my own personal talk show will go into this. And then finally, something else that made us all sad this week, the Choco Taco. Something I had never heard of before this week, by the way, is going away. Devendra, tell us what this is about, please.
I barely know. The Choco Taco is one of the like Klondike companies. It's a chocolate taco thing. It has like the ice cream cone wafer, but shaped like a taco, has vanilla ice cream and like a chocolate covering over it. I think the only reason we're talking about this is because Alexis Ohanian, a co-founder of Reddit and current like VC dude, told Unilever like he wants to buy the rights to Choco Taco and keep it from melting away from future generations' childhoods. If you're Alexis Ohanian, sure, yeah.
I don't think we were only talking about this because of Alexis Ohanian. I think everybody was kind of shooken in their feelings before he even.
I don't think I've ever had this. Yeah.
So I've never had this, but now all I do want is one.
Dude,
like all
you
I
can
want
go get
is
it.
a chocolate taco.
You can go get it. It's right there.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'm about to go buy mine. All right. So anyway,
this is a thing for kids who would often get ice cream from the ice cream trucks or had bodegas or something nearby. Like, it's something you could just find at the store. My parents would never get me anything from the ice cream truck. So it's like there's a whole bunch of that stuff where I'm like, I don't know. It seems fine. I'd love to try it at some point. I like the core Klondike bar. Klondike is fine. It's all good.
I'll try it. Yeah.
I'll try it. Yeah, give it a shot. Go to your bodega. You are in a city that has corner stores and bodegas. Just go find the Choco Taco. They're probably going to be raising the prices now, so you better hurry up before scarcity
stock up.
Work.
Okay.
Stock up. Okay. Let's move on to some listener questions. Do you want to read some of these, Cher? Because I've been talking for a bit. And you don't have to read the whole thing. Like, feel free to boil it down.
I'm going to summarize. Yeah. So we got two listener questions this week. One from Thomas from Madison, Wisconsin about the iPhone XR. You listen to our episode on the Pixel 6a. You are in the market for a mid-range phone currently on the iPhone XR, but you've read somewhere that Apple may stop supporting it in the next year or so. Basically you're asking for advice on what phone to get, right? Thomas said that they're pretty basic. Mostly use your phone for low demand things, podcasts, music, maps, maybe photos and videos sometimes. So should you select from what's available now or wait for a bit? And is it easier to just stick with Apple, or is it worth your while to look at the Pixel or other devices? Man, you're like a tough person to answer the question for, because you don't have like these strong feelings and strong requirements.
And in that case, I would say do not switch platforms, because if you don't care enough to like, hey, I'm interested in Google's computing photography and some of these Android features. If you don't care, do not move, because that path will only lead to headaches, I'd say.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was the first step for you is to decide what your priorities are in terms of use case, in terms of like your must-haves, right? So do you want you must have a phone that lasts all day? Like battery life is top concern for you, because it sounds like you don't really care that much about photos looking amazing. You don't need to play a lot of games, so processor is not that important for you. So I would say as just a general advice thing, make a list of like things you need your phone to do. Then it helps you kind of narrow down your choices.
Yeah, absolutely. I already sent Thomas an email too, like with my basic thoughts. But the thing is, like, it is currently the end of July. It's basically August, and Apple announces new iPhone stuff in September. So if you guys are in the markets for phones and your phones are working, just hold on to them. Hold on to them and wait to see what is happening in September. Wait to see whatever else Google's announcing. Even if you're getting a mid-range phone, everything else will kind of like drive down in price. So
right.
If you're fine
the
with
older
the
generation,
you probably don't need an iPhone 14, but this fall you'll probably have a good deal on like an iPhone 12 that will be great. Like that's kind of the way to go. Like at this point, I'm looking at phones, like I look at used cars or something. A lot of times it doesn't make sense to buy new. It gets devalued so quickly. So that's my thing. Do you have a specific device, or do you agree with that tip, Sherlyn?
I mean, I agree with you. I really like the Pixel mid-range series.
Nice,
I think Android is so nice, but I also have different priorities. My priority is like a good camera. So I wouldn't have the right advice for someone that's like looking for something different. So there you go. Moving on to the other question we received this week from Wesley. Wesley said that he heard our discussion around AI, Google's Lambda AI being sentient or not. And though you agree with everyone about this not being actual sentience or sentience, as the Americans pronounce it, it seemed like you felt like most discussions didn't really dig into how to test for AI sentience. And if it actually happened, how would we know it happened? And how would we know to not just blow it off as being part of an algorithmic design? And, many physicists already believe that it might be possible, that our universe is predetermined, and our brains are just electrical impulses reacting to stimuli, just like the world reacts to the stimuli it gets from the sun. How would we tackle determining if a piece of software is in fact sentient in the future, especially as AI and machine learning methods advance? It's just right.
We don't know. We don't know. Yeah.
We don't know is the short answer.
We're not the experts for this either. Like the scientists in charge of like determining this stuff are just like, Maybe we'll see one day. I've talked to a couple of people and it's like, we don't have the testing for it. I think the main thing is go ahead.
I was going to say, Wesley, that like part of our discussion in the episode that you listened to too was how we both acknowledged that like we as people don't even know what it means to be conscious and how to transfer our own consciousness to other planes or forms too. So like, how do we know if some other being is conscious or not, right? Sorry, Devendra, you were saying.
Well, the main qualification we brought up in that episode is that everything Lambda was doing was based on a prompt, right? It was answering questions based on prompt. At that point, input output. At that point, it's like, okay, well, yeah, it can read millions of lines of text and come up with a vaguely human, response. Google's the Gmail auto response thing. I think Google has admitted like they have billions of messages they could look at to see how a human replies to a certain type of thing. If Lambda and if an AI was just like out doing its thing, like doing its own thing with no prompting, at that point, like wants to learn, is asking interesting questions, has a self-awareness about itself, like at that point, maybe the line will be so thin that we just can't say, okay, you're probably a conscious being at that point. There will still always be the question of their programming and what is driving them and our relationship to that. That's always going to be there. That's always there with humans too. Like we don't know. Nature and nurture is still a thing we're still like trying to come to terms with. So I love living in a world where we don't know everything, basically. Like, and I love like exploring these gray areas, and it's going to get more interesting. That's all I can say.
I will say to answer Wesley's question also, we've got a few live chat audience members chiming in with their own suggested sentience tests. For example, Mark Dell says, I've seen the episode of Star Trek TNG. I know how to test for sentience. And Buddy305 Love says, I have a test. Ask the AI if it's self-aware. I feel like this is not... I personally don't think that that's the test. Buddy305 Love, sorry. Yeah, they already have been trained to answer that question. So I'm not sure if that's the actual test, but people have ideas. So I hope that Wesley, even if we don't have an answer for you, you feel like people are thinking about it. So I
feel like the Blade Runner test was my first idea. The first time I was like came into a test for specific like human consciousness or something. So and that's how that movie opens, and something that's always come to mind. So it could end up being something like that, like exploring a being's ideas and philosophies, and maybe that will tell us something. So anyway, this was a really good question. I like having both of these questions. So please send us more. podcast@Engadget.com. I know Sherlyn really wants to do like a self-help podcast, or
give me all your inner
answer
questions,
all your questions. Make sure there's a tech angle, please. But otherwise, I'm sure like Sherlyn can use it for her TikTok show eventually.
Also that.
Let's move on to what we've been working on, and I have a review of Dell's XPS 13 Plus going up basically the day this podcast is going up. It's going up this week. I am a little confused by this computer because it is both very, very beautiful. We've talked about it before during CES. This is the one that is the more powerful XPS 13. It has the keyboard that stretches from edge to edge. It has the trackpad that's like underneath the wrist rest. It looks really cool. It looks like I'm stepping into the future or something using this thing. And then I start using it and I'm just like, I don't like this. I don't like a lot of this. The reason why even Apple, which could easily, I think, make a seamless trackpad if they wanted, but on every Mac, even the new MacBook Air, you have a large trackpad area, which is covered in glass, and then you have the wrist rest, which is covered in the metal of the rest of the case. That separation tells you a lot. It tells you of like, oh, I'm in trackpad zone. I can zip around here, not do anything. You don't have that at all in the XPS, and I found that really, really frustrating. Just like swiping around, I have a vague sense my finger's in the middle, but sometimes it's not. Sometimes I'm swiping towards something, I reach the edge. I can't tell. So I'm sure if I was using this thing for a month, maybe I would get used to it. But here's the thing, Dell, if you're telling me this is like the future of computing, I shouldn't have to get used to it. This is a very simple usability thing, and you could see it coming from a mile away. When we were sitting down talking to Dell executives, Sherlyn, like it was the first thing I brought up. And they were like, we tested different things and we think like people will get used to it. And I'm like, every time you say that, don't that is bad usability. That's bad for customers and bad for users in general. So that part annoys me. The keyboard is fine. It also has a capacitive function arrow, which is okay, but is not bright enough to see outside sometimes. Like the brightness on that gets weird. It gets washed out. So I didn't like that part. Beyond that, though, like it is perfectly fine, but it is funny that I just came off of reviewing the MacBook Air, the new MacBook Air, which yes, will be the last perfect to use I use in a headline for a long while. But that thing is just like, it is a really nice MacBook Air. It's not trying to do any of this stuff, and it still has a headphone jack. Frickin' Dell doesn't have a headphone jack in the XPS 13 Plus or the new XPS 13. So points docked for that. No excuse if Apple can put it in and you can't, Dell. So my reviews can be going up. Not a like very bad review, but certainly a frustrating one. What's up with you, Cher?
It is earnings season. I've got Apple's earnings later today to cover, and we are ramping up to hot gadget fall, I guess. I don't know. But there's briefings and meetings that are happening in town, and we're going to go see all of this cool new fun stuff, which means you will be seeing my face again all over Engadget, I guess. I've been able to hide from being on I don't know, video for a bit, but I guess I'm going to be back to work. They're going to put me back to work again. So there you go.
There you go. Sorry, I was on mute. Let me just pull up something. I'm looking for a note I have here.
Oh, okay. You have a note. Oh, around Engadget. Do you want me to start with?
Why don't you go ahead and start? Yep.
Okay. But elsewhere on Engadget, our other coworkers have been hard at work. Nate Ingram published a guide to smart speakers. So if you're in the market, you can use his guide to help you buy one. We've also got Steve Dent with his guide on the best projectors you can buy, plus how to choose one, which is great. I know a lot of people are interested in that. And then finally, head on over to the Engadget TikTok, because some of our other coworkers, put in a lot of effort to making some of these videos out there. I mean, Terrence O'Brien, our managing editor, apparently is just like in TikTok famous now.
He loves it. Yeah,
he's so good at it. I can't do TikTok. I mean, I guess I could. I just don't have.
What are you talking about? What are you TikToking about, Sherlyn?
I know. TikToking about. Funny. I just don't think I don't think I'm good for TikTok. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll start my own and I'll feel better.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're just like,
I'm starting my own TikTok.
You found a social network that's broken you. Yeah, you do have to use TikTok a little different, and it is like a random bunch of things. But I kind of want to start doing stuff too. Like I have a rant about the XPS 13. Probably won't be on the Engadget TikTok, but I'll probably just do something for me because I'm surrounded by just stuff, gear around me. And I feel like some nerds would like that, and I don't have time for full video production. So that's a thing. So yeah, cool. Thank you, Sherlyn. Yeah. Let's move on to our Engadget picks for the week. What do you got?
A while back, I watched this film called Incantation. It's on Netflix. It's a Taiwanese horror movie.
I've heard of this,
Yeah, it's almost like Blair Witch style, where it's a mix of found foot. It's actually all found footage, and the story I thought was very interesting. And I'm always a big fan of like Asian horror films. So this was good. I wish it had a bit more bite, but man, the story was scary. It was like it had a twist ending. It had all of that going for you. So
Everything you wanted. Yeah.
everything you want. I know it's not quite spooky season yet, but hey, if you're ready to be spooked a little early, this is a good ride. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of the beginning of spooky season.
It's
Like, this is
about
the
to be.
time it's about to be. Like, I'm going to talk about Nope, the latest Jordan Peele movie, and
yes.
I loved it. And I can only say so many things. I can say, judging from the trailers, it looks like this is a UFO movie, like a UFO abduction type of movie.
All right.
And it is that and so many other things. And I'm not gonna say specifics, but I will say I love it. If you can safely see it in the theater and you feel okay doing that, it is worth doing because this is a big screen movie. This is Jordan Peele, who I love. I love Get Out. I loved Us too. I loved how weird and inscrutable and unclear. Like, Us was not very specific about what it was trying to say. And I kind of love that too, because it feels like Jordan Peele just took all the clout he had after making Get Out. I'm like, I can do whatever I want. I don't have to make a traditional, like, I don't have to make a thing that you're used to. I can, really just make something I want to make. And I feel that. I love that. I felt that a lot in Us. I really feel a lot about that in Nope. This movie evokes, big Spielberg epics, but it also invokes like freaking Neon Genesis Evangelion. Evokes Akira at times. I'm like, oh man, I can't help but love this. I get your references. Your references are my references. I love it so much. So check out Nope if you can. And you may not like it. Like, here's the thing. It's not the movie you expect. And I think that's okay. I love living in that feeling of being surprised by a filmmaker, especially when as talented as Jordan Peele. So that's my recommendation for Nope. I've also been watching The Rehearsal on HBO Max. And this is Nathan Fielder's new show, which I think you should watch, Sherlyn, because it is...
Yeah, I know.
It is wild. It is a wild exploration of human drama. This is Nathan Fielder coming back, after Nathan For You, which was like a great, fun, unique Comedy Central show. He's producing How To with John Wilson, which is one of my favorite shows on HBO right now. That's just like a guy walking around New York and coming up with ideas about New York. The Rehearsal is full on Synecdoche, New York, the Charlie Kaufman movie. It is about people who want to rehearse a specific thing they want to do in life, and Nathan Fielder does everything in his power to help them do that, including building an exact replica of the place they're going to be rehearsing, like hiring actors to help them have these conversations. It is something, rehearsing a situation is something people with anxiety do, something I do quite a bit too, especially. You do it, you prepare, you mentally prepare over and over, until it drives us mad.
Yeah,
it's a great concept, but also this show is a full exploration of how that there are limits to that. Sometimes you can't rehearse everything. You cannot prepare for everything in life.
Interesting.
And the show is that. I think you would love it, but also make sure you get to the second episode, which is one of the wildest things I've seen on TV. It introduces a main character to our world that everybody's talking about now, and he's one of the most infuriating people I've ever seen on television. So I think for the drama and the reality TV-ness of it, and just the insanity of it, I think you'll really appreciate it, Sherlyn. If you guys like Nathan Fielder's work, I think this is worth watching. So check out The Rehearsal on HBO Max. And I think we're good to go.
All right. Well, that's it for the episode this week, everyone. Thank you, as always, for listening. Our theme music is by game composer Dale North. Our outro music is by our very own Terrence O'Brien. This podcast is produced by Ben Ellman. You can find Devindra online at
Devindra on Twitter, and at the Filmcast Podcast at thefilmcast.com.
If you want to send me places where I can go buy a Choco Taco, you can send them to me on Twitter. I am at Sherlyn Lowe. Email us your thoughts at podcast@engadget.com. Leave us a review, please, on iTunes, and subscribe on anything that gets podcasts.
Woo.
Okay, we are done. Sort of.
We're done.
Oh,
sort
right.
of. Oh
Sort
man,
of.
this is a big boy. Sorry. Let's do it real quick, and then we'll do your thing. Sure.
Some time for we'll do my thing, and then we got some time for Q&A. Buddy305 Love says TikTok Tech Time with Shirley. Oh my god, I kind of love that name.
Yeah.
I'm trying to start like a TikTok thing. I don't know what I want to talk about yet, so y'all give me your ideas. So please give me tell me what to do for my first TikTok.
I think part of it is being funny and letting your personality shine. But anyway, that's the whole thing. I'm gonna run to the bathroom. I'll be right back.
Okay, do you?
Chat room.
That's my first TikTok, right? That's my first TikTok. Is running to the bathroom.
Running to the bathroom, but also that exchange of like, I think I'm funny, and everybody be like,
crickets. Actually, no, I got a meeting to get to. I can't get to that right now.
Yeah,
I can't make a comment on
that. Going backwards in the chat, did we have anything fun? Ben, do you want to point out anything cool?
I mean, there was a situation where the people in the chat were talking about like, how do you prove that you are sentient?
Yeah.
And there were some weird answers.
Okay. All right. We don't need to get into all of that.
No, it did not get as philosophical as, I think therefore I am sort of.
Yeah. That's not even
like Enlightenment philosophy.
Yeah.
It was mostly rude things.
Yeah. All right. Mark goes, I haven't seen Devendra put down an XPS ever. Exactly. Yeah. It's like we're all shook. So it's a problem.
But it's also good to see that he has the capacity to do so.
Hells yes. Exactly. I'm glad. I'm like, Dev, get out of there. Experience an HP Spectre once in a while. Can I floss? That's half of the TikTok experience. There is video out there of me trying to learn to floss. It is not great. Also, shout out to Matt Smith, our UK Bureau Chief, who may or may not still be here. Matt is fully aware of my inability to floss or wink. That might be my first TikTok. I cannot wink, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think I can. Can I? Huh. Anyway, go on. Y'all are mentioning the Engadget TikTok account. Please follow. We've got something like 2,000 or something followers. Devendra's on there a bunch. Terrence is on there a bunch. I recently, I think, did some videos on there as well, but I don't know. I feel kind of unequipped to handle TikTok, so I don't really do a lot of TikTok videos for Engadget. But maybe if there were nicer people on there like y'all, I might.
It's a nicer community than YouTube, at least, from what I see.
I think so, yeah.
And I wonder why that is. Like, part of me thinks that it might actually be just because, like, the younger demographic are slightly more informed netizens than other folks.
Yeah,
it could
probably.
Be.
Albert has Albert in the chat, who's also a friend, has an idea for TikTok for me, which is either Sherlyn yells at gadgets or what grinds my gears. And that's actually, I keep yelling at my speakers, so maybe I should, that's a good one.
That's a good one. I also don't think it has to be a defined thing. It's not like YouTube or a podcast where it has to be like, this is your theme. You gotta stick to it. This is your format. Like, I do love how free form it is, and I feel like that is a thing we'll play with more. So anyway, it's all cool. It's all cool.
Yeah. D-Man, one of our regulars, says the daily Engadget headlines are always fun. Thanks, Matt. Yes, Matt is one of our newsletter editors too, who puts a lot of fun spins on the stories of the day. So Matt is like good with the humor. I do like that.
So during the chat about Meta in general and Instagram, generally just people saying that like Instagram, I think part of it is that the sheen has come off the idea, period. And then also Instagram has drifted away from being the thing that it initially was.
Right. It's what Meta wants it to be rather than the thing people liked at the beginning. Yeah.
But even the thing that people initially liked, the sheen has come off of it, and people are, more likely to compare and despair. I think we have the term compare and despair more often, or
it's true.
We had that defined because of social media and maybe more Instagram than anything, because
Instagram really everything you see is just like, their life is so much better, or all the like suggested reels I get are just like women in bathing suits. I'm like, I don't need. That's not all I want to see. You know,
Right,
It's like,
right.
that's
There's
all
so much
Facebook
more
is
to
giving
life.
me.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know.
all
this
I
person.
want to see.
It's not,
Yeah.
I don't know. Facebook thinks we're all more perverted than we actually are, I guess. But it's really like it is like a base level algorithm, right? It's like
Well, we went from
gross.
Facebook being a platform that wanted to connect people to each other, right? To like Instagram, which is where everyone wanted to show off to each other.
Mhm.
And then now TikTok's like everyone just wants to dance for each other. Like,
Yeah. Like TikTok, I think is a good expression of humanity in that way. Like it is very silly. It's very
TikTok
funny.
and short form videos are I've done a good amount of
Mhm.
reading about like where it sits in the cultural hierarchy of the internet these days. And I mean, we're talking about compare and despair. We're talking about like everything else is so much more perfect because that's the culture that Instagram ended up
exactly.
developing.
Exactly.
And so then you had stories that was more like contemporaneous. You know,
Mhm.
here's what I'm doing right now. That broke
Mhm.
down the, you know,
But that was
everything is
Snapchat.
perfect and
Yeah.
Yeah.
well,
Instagram is now Frankenstein of all the other networks. Basically.
Exactly.
and then I think along with Instagram stories, you had the concept of the fake Instagrams, the Finstas,
Yep.
the you know, personal only or close friends that ended up being like cannibalized back into Instagram stories, where you can have
Instagram,
close friends
it has
stories
become-
and non-close friends stories.
Yeah, it's the Homer of social networks. It is the Homer designed car of just like has everything, has all these features, and none of them is like a cohesive thing. If you guys don't know that reference, and
I don't.
we can't be friends. I'm sorry.
Oh, the Homer design car. Okay.
The Homer car, yeah. But it's that. It's just like this monstrosity of a thing that nobody actually wants. I didn't mention Be Real in our segment, but I should have, because it does seem like the door is open for other people to do photo stuff, you know, and more authentic photo stuff. And that's what Be Real basically is. I don't spend time on Be Real, but it seems cool. It's a cool concept.
I
I've heard
actually
of
saw
it.
someone on TikTok just saying that they are so convinced that Instagram is going to unveil some Be Real similar feature within
absolutely.
the next 6 to 8 months.
Absolutely. In fact, I
It's
need
all
to just
coming.
go claim my username because it seems like Be Real is sticking around. So I do that for every social network.
Smart.
I'll do that now before chat does. Yeah.
I think we're about done, right? With the
We're done. We have another segment to record, folks. So be
have
sure to
one
stay
more.
tuned for the audio podcast and an interview that's going to be at the end of the episode too.
Oh, so we also have
Yeah,
an
I have a
interview?
lot to do today.
We'll talk
Oh,
about
no.
that offline. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, come back to listen to the audio version of this episode because there's a lot of bonus content, specifically something similar to what we saw last week. So if you know what came last week, you know what's coming this week. So
Okay, you're
ahead.
dancing on the line there, Sherlyn, but
oh no, I know what line I can dance on.
okay.
Something's
All right.
coming.
So yes, thank you to everyone who watched. Thanks to Dan and John for coming in and talking about AI generated artwork. I think that was really cool. This stream comes to you via our video team, which is Julio Barrientos and Luke Brooks. If you stuck around this long, come on, you know what I'm going to say. You know that we live in a world of algorithms and AI increasingly, and in order to get a larger audience, stick around, get better guests, all of that stuff, rate us on iTunes, rate us on your podcast platform of choice, tell some friends, send us some emails about really interesting questions, tech questions, and sort of like, I'm thinking about buying, can you help me through this idea? And we'll see you next week.
Later, folks.